5th annual memorial service at Arlington National Cemetery. What a wonderful day and beautiful weather we had. My name is Turner Kobayashi. I'm the coordinator of this annual event. Each year, we gather here to honor those brave Japanese Americans that served our country and are now interred here. It began with the members of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team in 1948 and continues to this day. It is the longest running service held here by a non-governmental organization since its beginning. My father, Keith Kobayashi, started this event and service and shared this event for the first 44 years. I've had the honor to carry this tradition on for my family for the last 31 years. In the past year, we have made a concerted effort to find, identify, and locate more Japanese Americans interred here. We added 83 names from last year, and now have seen our list grow to 157 sites, honoring 218 men and women interred here. You can see them in the program, those that we have added this year. We are very fortunate and appreciative to be here today. Please let me introduce the leaders of our sponsoring groups to welcome us. First, Michael Tanaka, David K. Inoue, Policy Fellow for the JACL DC chapter.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Michael Tanaka, and I serve as the Daniel Inoue Policy Fellow for the Japanese American Citizens League. Before I begin my remarks, I'd like to give my thanks again to the Kobayashi family, our keynote speaker, Major Kei Isumihara, our student speakers, Caitlin and Aiden, the Japanese American Veterans Association, the Japanese American Memorial Foundation, as well as our current and former active duty and retired military service members. Thank you for your service. As well as the JACL DC chapter for giving me the opportunity to speak before you today. To speak a little bit about our chapter, we are one of the largest chapters of our organization, the Japanese American Citizens League, and we frequently put on a large number of social, cultural, and educational events in and around DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Some of these events include this Memorial Day event, as well as Mochitsuki in the winter, in December, as well as our summer picnic coming up in June. And so if there's any questions or membership questions, please feel free to contact our membership chair, Kim Tobe, as well as our two wonderful presidents, Julie Abo and Linda Adams, as well as myself. So that's my remarks. Again, thank you so much for being here this morning to Japanese American veterans and service members. As previously mentioned, my position at JACL is named in honor of the late and great Senator Daniel Inoue, who, as many of you know, was a 442nd veteran, as well as a Medal of Honor, a Bronze Star, and Purple Heart recipient. Until Kamala Harris assumed the vice president position, Senator Inoue was the highest-ranking Asian American politician in history. It's a profound honor to be serving in his name in this capacity, and throughout this year I have been in constant reflection about what it means to advocate and to have allyship for my identity as a 4th and 5th generation Japanese American. Both my mom and dad's families were incarcerated during World War II, and my mom's dad served in the MIS, the Military Intelligence Service, while the rest of his family were incarcerated in Manzanar. When faced with doubts and challenges about the work I do and the communities I represent in the policy field, I think of the challenges veterans like my grandpa, like Senator Inoue, who lost his arm in battle, and the rest of the 33,000 plus Japanese Americans had to overcome to survive, to prove their Americanness, while many of their families too lived behind barbed wires and in horse stalls back home. I think of the 4,000 purple stars, 4,000 purple hearts, 4,000 bronze stars, 560 silver stars, 21 medals of honor, and 7 presidential unit citations that the 442nd Regiment received alone in service of this community and our great nation. I think of the challenges of icons like Secretary Norman Mineta, Spark Matsunaga, Robert Matsui, among countless other war heroes, veterans turned politicians, and leaders of this community who continue to speak their truth into the face of power after the war, utilizing their bipartisan relations in Congress to pass the landmark Civil Liberties Act of 1988, which began the reparative healing process for so many families who spent the previous 43 years silent, including my own. I think of all the sacrifices that were made so I'd be able to grow up and enjoy the liberties I have as both an Asian American and Japanese American. These liberties I do not take for granted. And so for all those who came before me, I want to say thank you. I am who I am because of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Now I'd like to introduce the president of the Japanese American Veterans Association, Gerald Yamada.
Good morning. Before I start my remarks, I'd like to extend a special recognition to 2 people in our audience. One is our former executive director, Terry Shima, who celebrated his 100th birthday earlier this year. And so I'd like to recognize Terry. And the other person I'd like to recognize is Yoko Kosabayashi, Ki Kobayashi's wife. I have very, very fond memories of Ki, and knew his wife as well. But both she and Terry look in excellent shape, and would like to recognize her as well. You know that Ki and Yoko were great parents by seeing what their sons and daughters do for the community. But Yoko? On behalf of the Japanese American Veterans Association, I welcome you to the 75th Annual Memorial Day service at Arlington National Cemetery. JAWA is again proud to co-sponsor this event. We thank the Ki Kobayashi family for organizing the service. Today our theme is honoring our heroes. A hero can be defined as, quote, someone who knowingly and voluntarily makes a conscious decision to sacrifice something of oneself for the greater good of others, end quote. What better role model of heroes do we have than the 33,000 Japanese American men and women who answered the call to defend the country that considered them non-aliens and that unjustly denied them their freedoms. To overcome this prejudice, they served with personal courage and exceptional valor. Their legendary go for broke spirit proved their loyalty to America and restored the civil rights and dignity of all Japanese Americans. They forged a legacy that continues to benefit all of us. On this day and every day, let us embrace their legacy by keeping faith in America and as our way to fight the ongoing war against prejudice, as the New Day soldiers whom we honor today as our heroes. And in appreciation to all who have served and are serving, we simply say, thank you for your service and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. Now I'd like to introduce a member of the board member of the National Japanese American Memorial Foundation, Mark Nakagawa.
Good morning, everybody. I think I can probably say, without telling a lie, that I think this is the biggest crowd post-COVID, and it is great to see everyone, weather is holding, and it was awesome to see Mr. Terry Shima walk up. Marty Herbert calls Terry the Godfather. I call him the rock star. Everyone knows Terry, so it's awesome to see you here, Terry, so thank you very much. There's a lot of dignitaries, lots of friends and family here, so thank you all for joining us in this solemn occasion. On behalf of the board and the officers of the National Japanese American Memorial Foundation, I thank you for this honor and privilege to be able to say a few words today. The Foundation's mission is to tell our stories and services and sacrifice in protecting the constitutional rights of all Americans during World War II. The Japanese American Memorial to Patriotism during World War II, I know it's a mouthful, so we just say the memorial that's downtown, stands in our nation's capital as a memorial to patriotism. Our vision is to remember forever the Japanese American history of patriotism and perseverance for posterity. That site downtown memorializes the incarceration of over 120,000 people. Many Americans Japanese ancestry and the heroic, and it also memorializes the heroic and valiant service of the 100th Infantry Battalion, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, and the Military Intelligence Services. We stand together as a community to ensure that the experience of the Japanese American. Today, we honor with the Kobayashi family and honor them for supporting or sponsoring this event for recognizing over 200 Japanese American veterans interned here in Arlington Cemetery. The 75th year, or the platinum or diamond anniversary of this ceremony, demonstrates the giri, or obligation that we place honoring our veterans. Much occurs in the span of 75 years. In 1948, the Cold War began. When Berlin was blockaded, the wall came up. But however, in 1989, the wall came crumbling down. And a few years later, in 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, ending the Cold War. Scientists at Bell Laboratory invented the transistor. From the transistor, we made the transistor radios, television. That also spurred the creation of chips, which created computers, microcomputers. And think about it. Our iPhones. Your iPhone, the computing power in the iPhone now generates more power than it took to put the man on the moon. Cheetos, Ruffles, potato chips, Mentos, they were invented in 1948, and guess what? I still eat them. Not the old ones, but the new ones. But they were invented in 1948. President Truman issued Executive Order 9980 and 9981, abolishing racial discrimination in the federal government and the U.S. military. I like to think that the valiant service of the 100th, 442nd, and the MIS, coupled with that of the Tuskegee Airmen and the Buffalo Soldiers, probably had a hand in the signing of that executive order. And finally, in 1948, the Kobayashi family began the solemn event here at Preston Turner. And in the future, to his the next generation. So why this history of what happened in 75 years? Well, it's just a reminder that time is endless. Events occur, things come and go. However, it is solemn events, ceremonies like this that endure the test of time. For that, we have to thank the Kobayashi family. Thank you. Buried in the hallowed grounds around here are soldiers from the Confederate, as well as the Union, soldiers, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, civilians, and in the future, Guardians, the Space Force. Each interned hero served this nation and rests in hallowed ground where we honor them today. Today's event started to honor veterans of the greatest generation for World War II. Their numbers are diminishing, and soon the veterans of the Korean War and the Vietnam War will still fill the ranks. Mr. Bob Nakamoto, who are we going to honor later today, a great American, is also a veteran of the Korean War. So he will receive his honors later today. In addition to the heroes from the Korean War, the Vietnam War, we are starting to see heroes from Iraq, Afghanistan, and elsewhere. In front of you is Section 60, back there. When I was first stationed out here in 2006, that area was pretty sparse. 20 years of hard fighting in Iraq, Afghanistan, and elsewhere, you see how full that place is. That section is now full. When I join my comrades in the Army of the future, here in Arlington Cemetery or elsewhere, I know that this ceremony will continue. Now don't worry folks, I do not plan on joining my comrades in arms soon. My plan is to be like our hero, Mr. Terry Shima, and live a long life. Terry just celebrated his 100th birthday a few months ago. Think about it, 100 years. And he was considered a youngster when he joined up with the 442nd. So that's my goal, to live a full life just like Mr. Shima. So Terry, you're my hero. So, last year we honored Colonel Jimmy Kanaya, a U.S. Army retired 3-war veteran. He was a medic serving the 442nd, earned a battlefield commission, fought there, became a POW in World War II, fought in Korea, fought in the Vietnam War, and after 34 years of honorable service, he passed away. Just like Mr. Bob Nakamoto, Colonel Kanaya paved the way for future generations like me so that we can serve honorably without any issues. I'd like to end today's my remarks today with the same way I ended last year's, with the words of Timothy 2, chapter 4, verses 7 to 8. It describes Colonel Kanaya and many others in this journey of his life. I fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I have kept the faith. Today's ceremony and those in the future honors us memories and service of great Japanese Americans that served honorably in the service of this nation. Thank you, Turner, and your family for this service. God bless the soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, Guardian, Coast Guardsmen, and civilians. God bless America. Thank you all. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mark. At this time, I'd like to introduce, representing the National Japanese American Citizens League, the Norman Y. Mineta Policy Fellow, Bridget Kaveni.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bridget Kaveni, and I currently, no worries. And I currently serve as the Norman Y. Mineta Policy Fellow at the Japanese American Citizens League, also known as the JACL. It is both my pleasure and honor to share this space with you all today to observe and commemorate our courageous Japanese American armed forces who selflessly heeded our country's call to service. Their valorous actions forever changed the course of our country's history and contributed to a more diverse and inclusive military. The harsh conditions that our service members faced while in combat is something many of us, myself included, cannot begin to imagine. To put one's life on the line for a country that not only questions one's loyalties, but also forcibly removed and incarcerated members of one's family and community is an experience and injustice that too few Americans know about. It is only right that we gather here today with the hope and intention of recognizing, celebrating, and memorializing the contributions of those who gave their lives for a cause far bigger than themselves. This year's Memorial Day service is in its 75th year, marking 75 years of outstanding community organizing and partnership. Please take a moment to think about that. 75 years. That kind of commitment and dedication can only come from caring individuals who are passionate and eager to preserve the history and legacy of our brave service members. On behalf of the JACL, we wish to take this opportunity to give special thanks to Turner Kobayashi and to the entire Kobayashi family for organizing this historic event for the past 75 years. Mr. Kobayashi, your family's commitment to Japanese American military members is greatly appreciated by all of us here today, and we hope to see this very important program continue to flourish in the years to come. We would also like to thank and welcome our student speakers, Caitlin and Aiden Lawrence, for being with us here today to deliver remarks honoring the service and sacrifice of our deceased veterans and their families. We'd also like to thank today's keynote speaker, Major Kei Isumihara, for their presence and service as a U.S. Army Reserve Service member. Lastly, we'd like to give our sincerest thanks to our partners in today's program, the Japanese American Veterans Association, the National Japanese American Memorial Foundation, and our very own JACL DC chapter for their contributions. The sacrifices made by the 100th Infantry Battalion, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, 522nd Field Artillery Battalion, the Military Intelligence Service, the Women's Army Corps, and countless others serve to remind us all here today of the strength, perseverance, and commitment that was and continues to be exhibited by Japanese American Armed Forces. We thank you all again for joining us here today, and we hope you join us after today's program to assist us in the laying of flowers at each assigned grave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bridget. This year's theme is the 75 years of honoring our heroes. And I know he has been mentioned before, but we are very honored for one of our heroes to be here, Mr. Terry Shima. Thank you so much, sir, for being here and always for your service to our country. So thank you, Terry. Also, we are very fortunate to have special guests today. The principal from the Spark Matsunaga Elementary School, Mr. James Sweeney, is here. He's rocking the Go for Broke t-shirt. We love that. And we thank you so much for bringing your students and for coming here. I know we've been doing this for, I believe, 12 years, and I know you've been personally here for the last 7. So thank you, sir, very much for coming. At the Spark Matsunaga School, we also are very fortunate to have the guidance counselor who pretty much organizes this speaker program for us. Her name's Miss Janine Jackson, whose daughter was one of our speakers in past meetings. So thank you very much, Miss Jackson, for coming. At this time, I'd like to introduce the JACL DC Community Engagement Chair, Janice Faden, to introduce our speakers.
Thank you very much, Turner. It is wonderful to be here with all of you, distinguished guests and special people who have a history here and who have honored us with your presence. Now, I know that we are fortunate to have 2 student speakers, not just 1, but 2, and they come from the same family because it's a sister and her brother. And the family, you will find out later through what the Caitlin and Aiden Lawrence have to say, is steeped in military tradition. So they, Aiden and Caitlin Lawrence from the Lawrence family, are here as part of an established tradition. And thanks to the Kobayashi family, Turner, very much, for including students, young people, as a part of this program to bring optimism, hope for us for the future, and also to represent the younger generation's voice and perspective. Before I introduce Caitlin and Aiden Lawrence, I'd like to recognize the family members who are here, and they have a whole row, in fact, a whole row of family members here. Now, either if you're comfortable standing, please do as I call your name, otherwise give us a wave and we will know who you are. So, first I have Rosie Lawrence, paternal grandmother. Hi, Rosie. Nancy Bati, maternal grandmother. Christopher Thomas Lawrence, did he come? Oh, he's on its way, trying to wend his way over to here. And if he comes later, while we're still up here, we will definitely introduce him, because he is in the reserves right now and has served our country for a very long time. Jason Lawrence, Dad, proud father. Seher Bati Lawrence, Mom, proud mother. Jessica Lawrence, paternal aunt. And Maywish Naveed, she could not be here, maternal aunt. All right. And I want now to talk a little bit about Caitlin and about Aiden. You both, I hear from Mr. Sweeney and Mrs. Jackson, are excellent students. And we applaud you for that, and I see you nodding in acknowledgement. Secondly, fourth grader is Aiden at Spark M. Matsunaga Elementary School, and sixth grader, I'm sorry, is Caitlin, my fault, fourth grader, and sixth grader is her brother, Aiden, who is now at Kingsview Middle School, but is a graduate of Spark M. Matsunaga Elementary School. And the school is named after honorable and distinguished and late Spark M. Matsunaga. He is also our hero. He served as distinguished U.S. Congressman, U.S. Senator, and then captain of the 100th Infantry Battalion during World War II. I hope you can hear me above the planes. I will continue to shout as loud as I can. Caitlin and Aiden, I understand, enjoy wild rides and zip lining. They also enjoy skydiving at indoor skydiving facilities. Caitlin loves taking ninja classes at the Dominique Dawes Academy, and Aiden has taken flight lessons at the Aeroflight Simulator at Montgomery Mall. Given these interests and activities, I think we could say they are action-oriented and risk-takers as well. They also have aspirations. Caitlin would like to be a veteran, or plans to be a veterinarian, and take care of all the animals in the world. And her brother, Aiden, would like to be work for NASA, correct? And that's his dream for the future. Besides those aspirations, they also have another wish, and that is to be a YouTube famous YouTuber. And that is a common passion, I understand, amongst youngsters in the younger generation. And I found out from them that that is someone who creates videos and or grabs other videos and edits them to promote a message that they want to put out, and then they put it on YouTube and it goes viral. And the more viral it goes, the more famous they become, and that's their joy and passion for the future. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome, please join me, Caitlin and Aiden Lawrence.
Dear friends and honored guests, my name is Caitlin Lawrence, and I'm proud to say that I attend 4th grade at Spark Matsunaga Elementary School.
And my name is Aiden Lawrence, and I'm a 6th grader, a former Spark Matsunaga Elementary School student. Today marks the 75th annual Memorial Day service to honor our heroes. This is a solemn occasion where we pay tribute to our fallen heroes. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors, the Japanese American Veterans Association, the National Japanese American Memorial Foundation, and the Japanese American Citizens League, DC National, and the Kobayashi family. This event is a testament to our unwavering commitment to honor the sacrifices of those who have served our country and given their lives to defend our values and freedoms. Memorial Day holds a special significance as we remember and honor the brave men and women who have died while serving our country.
For many of us, this day has a personal connection as we have family members who have served in the military. My uncle and grandfather both served in the Army, and they were deployed to Afghanistan during Operation Enduring Freedom. My uncle has been stationed in various countries in Europe, as well as Korea, Panama, and Kuwait. He still serves in the Army Reserves and can be deployed when necessary. But being a military family means that we have to make sacrifices too. Sometimes my uncle has to be away from us for long periods of time. We miss him so much when he is gone, and we worry about him constantly. But we also know that he is doing what he believes is right, and that makes us proud.
Being a military family also means that we have to be strong for each other. We have to support each other through the tough times, and we have to be there for each other when we need it the most. Today, as we remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, I want to thank them for their service and their sacrifice. And I also want to thank all the military families who have made sacrifices of their own. You are all heroes in your own right, and you are our deepest respect and admiration.
As we gather to commemorate Memorial Day, let us take a moment to reflect on the sacrifices made by those who have served our great nation and given their lives to defend our freedom. Let us honor their memory by showing our deep appreciation for their unwavering commitment to safeguarding our nation's values and way of life.
Thank you, and God bless us all.
We have something very special to give to both of you, and we would like to give them as tokens of our appreciation for your coming here today, sharing your words, and inspiring us. And your certificate of appreciation reads, presented to Caitlin Lawrence, Spark M. Matsunaga Elementary School, for presenting remarks at the 75th Annual Memorial Day Service, 75 years honoring our heroes at Arlington National Cemetery, May 28, 2023. And to you, Aiden, a gift and also another certificate, but of course it says Aiden Lawrence.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Caitlin and Aiden. That was wonderful. Caitlin, we have 400 cows and 14 thoroughbreds that you can come out to our farm and take care of, okay? I'm not sure about going to the moon yet, but Aiden, you can come out anytime too, right? But thank you very much. Now to introduce our keynote speaker, I'd like to ask the Japanese American Veterans Association President Gerald Yamada to come up, please.
It's my privilege to introduce Major Kei Izumihara. Kei is on the executive board of JAVA and serves as our secretary as well as on the scholarship committee. Kei is you may not know it looking at her, but she's an excellent juggler of time. First of all, she's a UC Irvine graduate, master's from Columbia University, has a military career. The early part was active duty in the Army, serving in Guantanamo Bay, Italy, Iraq, and Africa. She's a total of 20 years of military service, is still in the U.S. Army Reserve. When I say she is a juggler of time, expert juggler, she balances her time in the service. She's married with a loving husband. She's a mother of twins, 2 beautiful children that are with us today, and 2 cats. So it's my privilege to introduce our speaker, Major Kei Izumihara. Kei?
Hi, good morning, distinguished guests, families and friends of Nisei veterans, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Yamada, for the introduction. I am honored and humbled to be the keynote speaker for today's event. Thank you, Ms. Caitlin, Mr. Aiden, for your remarkable presentations, which is hard to follow, but I will do my best. Finally, thank you to the Kobayashi family for continuing to organize this event for the last 75 years. It is amazing to be part of an enduring event which started from honoring the first 2 Nisei veterans interred here at Arlington National Cemetery. Today, we are honoring over 100 fallen Japanese American service men and women who served in all wars since World War II, who have earned their spaces to rest among great American military veterans. Memorial Day is an American holiday to remember and honor the veterans who have served and made the ultimate sacrifice. Originally known as Decoration Day, following the Civil War and the establishment of the country's first national cemeteries, it became an official federal holiday in 1971. Many Americans will gather this weekend at national cemeteries across the nation and the globe to honor the fallen servicemen and women, including 26 permanent American cemeteries and 32 federal memorials, monuments, markers located in 17 foreign countries, most of which commemorates those who served in World War I and World War II. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the presence of the extraordinary. Many Nisei soldiers are among the American heroes buried here at Arlington National Cemetery. The segregated, all Japanese American 442nd Regimental Combat Team are remembered as the most decorated unit for its size and length of service in the history of the U.S. military. The 442nd boasts an impressive combat record, 7 Presidential Unit citations, 21 Medals of Honor, 53 Distinguished Service Crosses, 588 Silver Stars, 5,200 Bronze Stars, and 9,486 Purple Hearts. In addition, Congress awarded all members of the 442nd, 100th Infantry Battalion, and Military Intelligence Service the Congressional Gold Medal for their heroic service during World War II. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the formation of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, known for their motto, "Go for broke," meaning they gave it their all to win big. Following Pearl Harbor and President Roosevelt's signing of Executive Order 9066, Niseis were stripped of their constitutional rights and incarcerated. Subsequently, thousands of Niseis were eager to prove their loyalty to their country and volunteered to serve in the 442nd and 100th Infantry Battalion. After over a year of intense training at Camp McCoy, Wisconsin, and Camp Shelby, Mississippi, the 100th Infantry Battalion from Hawaii first landed in North Africa, then headed to southern Italy, where they fought valiantly in the Battle of Monte Cassino. This hard-fought battle earned them the nickname the Purple Heart Battalion, due to so many casualties. Then they merged with the 442nd to replenish their ranks. The 442nd's notable combat actions included the rescue of the lost battalion of 211 Texan soldiers in eastern France, liberating French towns of Briare, Belmont, and Bifontaine, liberating the Dachau extermination defensive line in northern Italy. These heroic actions resulted in 9,486 total casualties and 600 men killed. In addition, more than 6,000 Niseis served in the Military Intelligence Service, using their language and cultural skills to save countless lives and shorten the war immeasurably. As America's secret weapon in the Pacific, they interrogated prisoners, infiltrated enemy lines, and translated captured documents, including Japan's Z-Plan for the defense of the Philippines. They served in every combat theater and campaign, and at all echelons from front lines to higher headquarters, with the U.S. and other allied forces. Many of these Niseis had strong ties to Japan, and some even lived and studied in Japan prior to the war. They were very instrumental in the occupation and rebuilding of post-war Japan. As President Truman stated upon the Niseis Homecoming Parade, "You fought not only the enemy abroad, but you fought prejudice at home, and you won." I am not a descendant of a Nisei soldier, but my American roots originate from the war. My maternal grandfather, Reverend Seimoku Kosaka, was working at a Buddhist temple on the West Coast. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, he was detained and spent the war in various internment camps. My father, born in Honolulu, Hawaii, spent his youth under martial law and with a daily curfew. During this time, his family was forced to destroy their Japanese cultural heirlooms to prove loyalty to the U.S. He enlisted in the U.S. Army after high school and served in Korea in the late 50s. He always reminded me throughout my childhood that I should be proud to be an American because of the sacrifices of the 442nd and 100th Infantry Battalion. Growing up in Los Angeles, I recall placing American flags across the LA National Cemetery on Memorial Day events. Now, As an adult, I reflect on the last 20 years in the U.S. Army Reserves, performing endless training and volunteering for active duty tours across the globe. I think about my training at Fort Sam Houston 19 years ago, and I wonder if I had stood in formations in the same fields as Lieutenant Colonel Ruth Tanaka, U.S. Army Nurse Corps in 1950. While deployed to Guantanamo Bay 18 years ago, I wonder if I had walked on the same dirt roads or the grounds of the Naval Hospital as Captain Miki Iwata, U.S. Navy Nurse Corps. As a non-commissioned officer, I attended leadership training at Camp Shelby, Mississippi, and I wonder if I was issued the same load-bearing equipment and rifle, and if I had marched through the same forest as the Nisei soldiers training for World War II. As an officer years later, serving on active duty in northern Italy, Algeria, and Tunisia, I wonder how many Nisei soldiers' footsteps I followed. Now, as I raise my own children, I find myself asking, what do I want them to know about their history? Perhaps it was what my father and grandfather would want me to understand about freedom, that it is not free. A heavy price was paid by former generations, and especially the Nisei soldiers during World War II, and it should never be forgotten or taken for granted. I have experienced my fair share of injustices and discrimination, and the world today is far from perfect. But I am still grateful of the former generations for their sacrifices, and I feel hopeful that the next generation will prevail and thrive. As we lay flowers over the grave sites of the Nisei soldiers and their families this morning, I will humbly extend my gratitude to all those who gave me the opportunities I have today as a free Japanese American. Thank you.
Okay. Well, first of all, Kay, thank you for that very insightful presentation. Let's give her another round of applause. I'd like to ask the sponsors of this to come forward, representative from each of the groups, and to make a presentation to Kay. Terry, if I can ask you to join us, that'd be great as well, and as well as Turner. Who are we? Oh, okay, great. Kay, well, first of all, on behalf of Java, let me give you a Java coin. It's inscribed with your name and today's date. Also, on behalf of the group, let me present you with an image of the Go for Broke stamp. So this is for you. As many of you are aware of the National Japanese American Memorial, which is located in Washington, D.C. That was opened in 2000. And this is the history of who sponsored, how it was built, and the meaning of the book. And so I hope you will enjoy this as well.
Thank you very much.
Mark,
Oh, yeah. On behalf of the foundation, I'd like to also present you with the foundation coin. Congratulations.
And lastly, let me give you a Java tote bag.
I love bags, actually. I'm a bag lady.
All right, thank you very much. Again, another round of applause for our speaker.
Thank you, Major Izumihara. Each year, we select a Japanese American veteran that is interred here, and we would like to share a little about the man or woman with you. We're very fortunate today to honor a great man whom many of us knew, Robert Bob Nakamoto, who we lost in 2014. His daughter May is here with us, and her son, United States Marine Corps Major Mike Lewis, to tell us a little about him. Also, May's brother Mike, his wife Shizuko, and their sons Ko and Rio are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, May Nakamoto and United States Marine Corps Major Mike Lewis.
Thanks so much. I also wanted to recognize my little sister Amy's husband Anthony and her sons Marcus and Austin. Owen's at a soccer tournament with my sister. My brother Robert couldn't be here, he's in Tennessee. So we're honored to be here on the 75th year of the annual Memorial Day service and speak about our late father, Bob. He's interned here at Arlington Cemetery in the niche wall N70K122. Bob was second generation Nisei, not a car, born in Sacramento, California. He was the oldest of 8 children. His early days included growing up on this family's persimmon farm in Northern California. When the war escalated and Executive Order 9066 was put into action on February 19, 1942, my dad, his family were sent to the camps. He spent the bulk of his years at Camp Topaz in Utah. He rarely ever spoke about the camps, but in his later years, he seemed to try to put a positive spin on a couple parts. He would mention with a grin that towards the end of their time, the guard didn't seem to be watching them, so he and a couple others would sneak out of the camp and explore close by. He also mentioned that the water in the camp was nice and cold. It was the core of his character, always finding something positive and trying to find humor. He developed a fierce determination to succeed and carried a deep love for our country. He was so proud to be an American and determined to bring honor to his family and country. He served in the Air Force during the Korean War and was a lifetime VFW member. 3 of his younger brothers also served in the military. He earned his bachelor's degree from California State University, Sacramento, and he always used to tell us one of the few things in life that no one could ever take away from you was your education. So that was a big important to him. Some of his highlights for his professional career, he worked for the state of California. He was a deputy commissioner for planning for the state of Texas and conferred the title of honorary Texas citizen, director of planning for Medicare and Medicaid programs, director of corporate systems development for MCI. In his early 50s, he decided to start his own company, Base Technologies. He started the company out of his condo and grew it to an award-winning IT company with tens of $millions in revenue and awards in the 25-plus years he owned it. He also served on the presidential task forces for both parties. Some of his key awards were Placer High School Hall of Fame, which he graduated from in Auburn, California, JAVA's Terry Shima Leadership Award, which meant the world to him, and the Government of Japan Foreign Minister's Award in recognition of his efforts to enhance Japan-U.S. relations. He was always active in veteran and community service in organizations to include VFW, JACL, JAVA, and PPOM. JAVA was an organization that he was extremely passionate about. It was a running joke that if he could rope you in, you were going to a JAVA activity. Community involvement was a top priority for Bob, and it showed through his dedication and involvement in JAVA. Bob served as president of JAVA for 4 years, from January 2007 to December 31st, 2010. And I didn't know Terry was going to be here, but I said, to quote everyone's hero, Terry Shima, Bob spent lots of corporate and personal time handling JAVA business. Why? Because he cared. He was determined to make JAVA succeed. He gave JAVA the same care and attention he gave to a successful technology corporation. Some of the major projects that Bob participated in were the National Japanese Memorial. He co-sponsored the Fairfax County Asian American History Project, chaired the Finance Committee of the Combined Veterans Group, which worked to obtain congressional approval for the Congressional Gold Medal, which is the highest honor this nation can bestow. And he participated as a speaker on JAVA's Speaker Bureau, visiting think tanks, corporations, community organizations, and government offices to tell the Japanese American story. For all his accomplishments, Bob was most well known for his love of people. He remained humble and generous. He loved connecting people and watching them grow and succeed. He had a few simple phrases, but they always stuck with me. One of his favorite phrases was "keep plugging away." His humble way of saying, never quit, shake off the doubt or tough times, and you will accomplish your goals. And he would always say, just be happy. He always wanted people to be happy. And the other one, that was yesterday, this is today. His way of saying, shake off the negative, focus, and appreciate today. Bob broke through many glass ceilings. He started his own company in his 50s because he said he believed that as a Japanese American, it was the only way for him to achieve the level of success that he wanted. He was a frequent visitor to events at the Japanese ambassador's home. He was interviewed on stage by former President George H.W. Bush about the Medicare health system because he was still working at the age of 70. He also had the honor of attending and being hosted at the White House by former President Obama. My dad once mentioned that after they got out of the camps, his grandparents told them they better not dare complain. He said that they told him when they arrived in this country, they had no place to stay and they couldn't speak the language, so they didn't want to hear any complaints. So another positive aspect he carried even as he battled lung cancer for the last 5 years of his life. Not once, never, did he ever complain. He was determined to live life and make the most of each day. He displayed what I would like to think of as a true American spirit. So having this as his final resting place seems to cement what he worked for his entire life. He might not have known it as he was plugging away, but his fierce patriotism, work ethic, and determination led us to gathering today to remember him as part of this great event. So today's even more special as my son Mike is here to say a few words about him as well. My dad played a huge role in helping me raise him, and towards the end when he really wasn't feeling well, I would remind him that he helped me raise a Marine Corps officer, and he'd get a little grin. So the tradition of patriotism and service to our country continues. We have deepest gratitude to the Kobayashi family for their sacrifices in this tradition that continues to bring us together every year for this special event. And just, on behalf of my family, husband Marty, just like to thank you so much for your time, your opportunity to speak about our dad, and special thanks to JACL, JCL DC chapter, and JAVA. And most of all, just extreme gratitude to those we're surrounded by in this sacred area who gave everything for our country. God bless America.
Good morning. I'll level with everyone here. I hate public speaking, so I've got wicked cotton mouth right now. And so I'll probably stand up here and just death grip this podium throughout the next like 5 to 10 minutes. First of all, I'd like to say thank you guys for inviting me and having me here. It's an honor and a privilege to be amongst all of you. Obviously, everyone's come up here and acknowledged Terry Shima. You're definitely an example to follow. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mike Lewis. I'm an active duty Marine Corps major. I'm a special operations officer over at MARSOC. So if you're wondering, that's why I've got the beard and the long hair. So I'd say more importantly, I'm May's son. I'm her favorite son, and it's also because I'm her only son. And then also, Bob Nakamoto's one of his grandkids. My grandpa was a man of few words. He often listened more than he spoke. So in keeping with tradition, I'm going to keep my speech here very short. So when I was about 8 years old, my grandpa took my mom and I out to Northern California to meet some of our Japanese relatives in the, I guess, the Sacramento area, right? We went out to Alcatraz. We saw the Redwood Forest. We had a large gathering of like all of our Japanese relatives for a family dinner, but it was at a Chinese buffet, which I always thought was weird. But towards the end of the trip, my grandpa was like, "Hey, do you want to go meet more of your Japanese relatives?" And I'm like 8 years old, so I don't think I have a choice. So I said, "Yeah, sure, that sounds great." And the next day we get in the car and we're driving, and I noticed we're driving into a cemetery, which I thought was a little strange, but again, I'm 8 years old, I'm in the back seat, so I have no control over what's going on that day. And we pull up to this area in the cemetery, and we park, and I'm looking for like a big group of Japanese people that I'm going to figure out are my relatives that I've never met. And I don't see anyone there, though. It's completely empty. So we get out, my grandpa walks around to the car, my mom and I are standing there, and he's like, "Hey, are you ready to meet the rest of your relatives?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so he points behind me and he goes, "They're over there." And it was headstones with Nakamoto written on them. So that was supposed to be a funny story. It seems like it kind of freaks a couple people out. But I say that because you know, my grandpa had a quiet sense of humor about him. He was able to find humor in stressful situations, and he's able to provide a sense of calm that I think I've rarely seen in leaders that I've worked with in the past and in my last 12 years in the Marine Corps. So to me, as a leader of men, that's very important, to be able to provide a sense of calm soundness in times of stress and chaos. And so for me, it was valuable insight that I gained from being around my grandfather, and I only wish that I could have had him around for a little bit more to have learned, you know, additional lessons from him. So at MARSOC, we've got a saying when we reference our brothers that have passed away or been killed in combat, and that reference is never above you, never below you, always beside you. So to my grandpa, Bob Nakamoto, I wish you were here, and thank you guys for coming today.
Thank you, May. Thank you, Major. Appreciate your service, and maybe you could teach Caitlin, our ninja specialist here, a few tricks. All right. 31 years ago, I took this service over on behalf of my family, and we started a new tradition, and we had the reading of the Japanese American Creed. So for 31 years, we've been very fortunate to have Michelle Amano, the granddaughter of Mike Masoka, and also JACL DC board member, read the creed for us. So Michelle.
I am proud that I'm an American citizen of Japanese ancestry, for my very background makes me appreciate more fully the wonderful advantages of this nation. I believe in her institutions, ideals, and traditions. I glory in her heritage. I boast of her history. I trust in her future. She has granted me liberties and opportunities such as no individual enjoys in this world today. She has given me an education befitting kings. She has entrusted me with the responsibilities of the franchise. She has permitted me to build a home, to earn a livelihood, to worship, think, speak, and act as I please, as a free man equal to every other man. Although some individuals may discriminate against me, I shall never become bitter or lose faith, for I know that such persons are not representative of the majority of the American people. True, I shall do all in my power to discourage such practices, but I shall do it in the American way, above board, in the open, through courts of law, by education, by proving myself to be worthy of equal treatment and consideration. I am firm in my belief that American sportsmanship and attitude of fair play will judge citizenship and patriotism on the basis of action and achievement and not on the basis of physical characteristics. Because I believe in America, and I trust she believes in me, and because I have received innumerable benefits from her, I pledge myself to honor at all times and on all places, to support her Constitution, to obey her laws, to respect her flag, to defend her against all enemies, foreign or domestic, to actively assume my duties and obligations as a citizen cheerfully and without any reservations whatsoever, in the hope that I may become a better American in a greater America.
Thank you, Michelle. At this time, I'd like to ask all veterans active and retired service members to come up, introduce yourself, and then we'll have the playing of the taps. So, Mr. Shima, please come up, lead the rest of the group. Major Lewis, please.
Gerald Yamada, U.S. Army.
John Ohashi, United States Marine Corps.
Howard High, U.S. Army veteran.
Craig Harai, United States Army.
Hiroshima 442nd.
Marty Herbert, U.S. Army veteran.
Mark Nakao, U.S. Army, beat Navy.
Justin Ninomiya, U.S. Army.
Anthony Wynn, U.S. Army.
Kenta Washington, U.S. Navy.
Hello again, Mike Lewis, still United States Marine Corps.
Richard Roulier, Army Medical Service Corps.
Mike Katahara, United States Navy submariner.
Kei Izumihara, U.S. Army.
Morning, everyone. Leo Danaher, Commander, U.S. Coast Guard.
Good morning. My name is Gordon Spar, United States Air Force.
Please rise for the playing of the taps. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, are there any announcements? I'd like to acknowledge another special guest today, Georgette Furukawa, former JACL DC chapter president, is here with us. She's also in the Office of Asian American Native Hawaiian, excuse me, and Pacific Islander for the White House. Sorry about that there, but thank you, Georgette, for coming today. At this time, is there any announcements that anyone would like to make? Okay, so the official program part is over, and what we do now is we break up into teams to visit the grave sites and present these beautiful flowers. We need help. Last year we had about
93, I think, sites. This year we have 157. So it's increased significantly, and we really need some help in dispersing the ones outside the columbarium area. So for the columbarium area, my sister Teresa Olkers will be here. Please see her. And if there's a specific site or flower you would like to present, please let us know. So May, we know we'll do one for you, for your father, obviously. And but anyone else that wants to have a special request, see her for the columbarium and the niche wall area. For others, the remaining flowers will be over here, and my nephew Matt Olkers will be the person. So if you want to see a specific site and deliver that, please let him know as we are handing out this all the grave site visitation flowers. It's kind of a logistic thing, guys. So hang in there with us. My brother Baylor is here also. He has a map where he can kind of help you identify exactly where in that section it is. So it makes it a little bit easier to do that. My brother Forrest is here somewhere over here. He can assist you as well. He'll be down there and be helping as well. So my nephew Brian is here also. He can help, and we'll help get this done. In the future, if you have the chance to put I think it's called the Arlington National Cemetery Explorer app on your phone. It's a wonderful app. It's ANC Explorer, and it will help you actually see the gravesite headstones or markers, and will tell you the exact location with a pinpoint on a map. So it's a wonderful app, and it's very helpful if you do attend this in the future. But thank you very much for coming out. We appreciate it. We had some wonderful speakers, wonderful weather, and have a wonderful Memorial Day, guys. Thank you. Yes, and also all those speakers, please come forward. We'd like to get some pictures taken with you. So thank you. All right.
We'll do one last now.
Oh, right.
Hi, everybody. On behalf of the Japanese American Citizens League DC chapter, we are going to be hosting our annual picnic, and we would love to have you all come. So it's going to be on June 11th. It's the Cabin John picnic area I, as in letter I. Thank you so much.